Yeah, let me just start with a brief introduction of what are we doing here. Maybe Juan, you want to briefly start to share what is Gravity, what is our role in the Web3 space, just, I don't know, less than a minute or two. And then I will do more small presentations and some indications about what we are doing here in this call today, which is the purpose to practice liver infrastructure. You want to start, Juan, please?
Yes, of course. First of all, thanks to everyone who is present here. Um, I think you already have some previous idea of gravity from the Token Engineering Commons, but we spin out from the Token Engineering Commons into our own DAO. And what we're trying to do is to find needs, mostly social needs, to improve um, the well-being of individuals and organizations in DAOs. So um, we focus on conflict management and trust creation, thinking that those are two things that complement towards ritualizing and conflict and having culture as an advantage. And also within these topics, we found out that leadership is something that, or the lack of leadership and the lack of leadership education is something that both um, prevents working on trust creation and at the same time causes conflict. So we think that working on leadership it's a great topic um, to prevent and develop um, improvement cycles, both individually and in organizations, and at the same time to be skilled at managing conflicts, managing social dynamics, social complexity. And yeah, I think that's how we got to this point where we are now wanting to develop a course on leadership.
Thank you, Juan. So yes, just just about designing a leadership course in the Web3 context. So a little bit more information. Today we are doing two things. The first one is the implementation of this liberating structure called purpose to practice, which is just a way to start up uh, to commonly design what is the purpose of this course, what are the different principles or rules, what kind of people we want to attract, how we want to structure these, and what are the specific practice that we are going there. And second, also a little bit of context there, like Gravity has been really active in the retroactive public fundings, mainly from optimisms and Bitcoin communities. So we want to offer also this course. We will see later if all of it will be just also to provide that for the public goods or part of it. This is actually a design subject that we will decide later. But we are starting the practice to implement hypersearch in order to trace people that are actively collaborating to the design and even execution in the future, if you guys are open to that, in order that this public, the value generated with this course can also be rewarded back to people that have been participating in that. Grace Team, you guys are new to this community, so before moving forward, I don't know if you want to step in and maybe share a little bit about yourself.
I think Grace wrote that her internet is not really good enough to speak, but she's also writing. I don't know, Disco Punk, if you would like to take the mic. I see you're unmuted, but still we cannot hear you, Disco Punk.
New computer, try to press the space key in your keyboard. Sometimes there is a push to talk option activated by default. And that's the thing. No, Tim, sorry. We can't hear you. Okay. Disco Pong has just write me a private message. He's just needing some more minutes. So in the meanwhile, I have shared here in the chat a mirror board. Okay, I'm gonna share it as well here. And the invitations is to, let's see how many are we. Let's split a little bit into two breakup rooms. Grace, I just invite you to, I don't know if you're not participating by speaking, just to be active in the chat, be active in the mirror board. The invitation right now is to split one of us to maybe the breakup room number 1. So I will just randomly select Jeremy, Durgaras, maybe Tim to go to breakup room number 1. And before that, well, Jeremy, you know what is the problem there about the purpose to practice. Let's just take 5 minutes to do in these breakup rooms a little bit of discussions about what is the purpose. For the purpose, we are going to ask ourselves, why is this work around Web3 leadership course important to you guys as individuals, but also to the Gravity and the Web3 community? Okay, so is that clear? Let's just break up for 5 minutes and then we come back and integrate the responses. Is that okay? Any question?
I stay here? Okay.
Yeah, you stay here. Jeremy went there. I think Dorgras and Grace, you were the other two invited to go to the breakup room number 1. Maybe I can move you, I don't know. No, I can move people here.
I did it.
Okay, Grace went there. So team should be back in a bit. So let's go to the first quadrant, just the purpose. Let's just take some sticky notes and start to populate this first frame about why do we think this work is important.
Gus, are they in the same mirror board or in another one? Because I only see us. I don't see Jeremy or Durgadas.
They should be in the same one. Yes.
You can jump there.
Yeah, I will. I will.
Are we supposed to just stay in this one thing, or we go to the other ones as well?
I don't know. For the moment, I still think we're on the purpose.
Okay. Because he said 5 minutes. Already been 5 minutes, so I'm not sure.
I think um, we can wait to move on for the next one, but we can read what rules must we absolutely obey to succeed in achieving our purpose.
And we see it going, guys.
We think we finished with the purpose, with the first quadrant.
Yeah?
Yep.
Nice. So, I mean, with the amount of people that we are now, I think we can just do only one room.
Okay,
Uh,
I can move them.
you can move them. You have that
Yes.
power.
Yep.
Okay.
Come back, guys.
So Juan Carlos has made use of his super powerful admin role just to pull you guys in here. So yeah, let's take some moments to share with each other what we have worked on. Juan Carlos, maybe you want to share your screen? Yeah, amazing. Okay, who wants to start explaining a little bit what they have added?
Why don't we have like a reader, and then if there's any question, the one that wrote it can like give further details.
Okay, that seems like something very feasible. Let me be that reader when person is just writing to bring new opportunities, helping ourselves and others having better leadership in organizations. So just better leadership. Create evergreen content for Gravity and the Web3 space. Raise awareness of the importance of leadership culture, raising awareness, this is nice, support individual and collective improvement. I'm just moving on. If anyone wants to just add clarifications or make questions on this, please interrupt me freely, okay? Then there is this one, say, engaging new generations of leaders to step up and work on rotation of powers and structure-proof structures and future-proof structures. This is kind of brief, so I'm gonna put it here. This one here is DAOs are spaces for leadership to self-emerge. We need safe spaces for confronted leadership. Okay, we have to lead twice, once with people and once with principles. I'm not sure if I'm understanding this one. Like lead twice, once with people and once with principles. Can the author clarify, please?
Yeah, so that was me. So I was basically saying that because you have to greet the people where they are, but where they are is often not the place where the progress is going to be made. So you have to basically once the people are there, you have to give them principles to orient themselves on. That's especially true if you're trying to do something which, like my thing is that in the DAO space, everybody wants tech and everyone wants money, but there's very few people that come in saying, yes, what I want is cultural growth. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, once you're there for a while, that might be something you realize is necessary, but almost never do people come into it going, sociology. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay, thank you. Bringing human touch to the Web3 to grow not only our technical skills but also our people skills. Okay, so
Gustavo.
the way, yes. Oh, hello, Tim.
Hey guys, I just want to respond to what Jorgedas brought. I'm not sure that this is how we pronounce your name correctly, but I think the way to actually make culture change attractive is a famous sentence that says, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." In the sense that if you don't take care of culture and focus on processes and structure and strategy, instead, it might be beneficial in the short term, but in the long run, it's not going to work. So yeah, this is just a little bridge that might.
Yeah, that's what I said in the breakout room exactly. That quote from An Everyone Culture book.
That's Peter Drucker, right?
Yes.
Nice. So I'm seeing here, and please, this is a work that I will invite you to do. Altogether, there are very relevant and with meaningful stick notes here. Like I will invite you to bring those to the top of this frame, to the up side of this white rectangle. Why, for example, these ones like to bring news opportunities, yes, okay, this is of course part of it, but it's kind of obvious, right? It's kind of the meaning is not that much as these others input. So
Gustavo,
for example, this one about diversity, I will put it in the middle.
Gustavo, sorry to disturb. How can I access the mural? Can you send me the link again?
Yes, you have it here in the chat of this room, but I can send you also in a DM if that's make it easy to you.
Disco Punk, it's the first time we are in a meeting, at least that I recall, but it's great to have you here. Really cool.
Actually, it's not the first time, Juan. We already had a chat with Bianca on a Twitter space like a year and a half ago or something like that, where I kind of jumped in and yeah, that was me.
Great. Thanks for being here. It's amazing.
Yeah, sorry for the technicalities. I just have received a new computer and had to install Discord and allow video and stuff. So yeah, happy to be here.
Okay, so we have. Okay, let's just. We are taking a little bit more on time of this one because the purpose is the most important of these all quadrants. But okay, it seems like we have some kind of relevant, not relevant, and middle relevant agreement here. Or anyone wants to still show something or change something?
I more than changing, I saw Timothy writing leadership followership balance. That's really interesting because right now we are talking about leadership, but I am not so familiar with the term of followership, but it's good to have like that two polarities understanding of leadership. So it'd be really good to at some moment talk also about what followership is.
Yeah. To say a word about that either now or later. I don't know when it's...
Yeah, I think that was a good time.
So, so for me, followership is the art of actually knowing when to step back as a leader, when and how to do it. So when do I actually take space, step in, and when do I actually leave the space for others stepping back so that they actually develop their own leadership. And for me, this dance, this leadership followership dance is, yeah, what we call the androgynous leadership dance. That is connected to yin and yang polarities. And yeah, I believe that in a system, when every nodes of the system actually have this capacity, the leadership becomes way more dynamic, the energy flows through the system, it becomes more resilient and alive. So yeah. That's my views on followership.
Nice.
I included a video link that's similar to what you're talking about in the chat. So I don't know if you've seen that video, but I just thought you could watch it later.
I'm curious to know what new masculinity for leadership.
Masculinity and femininity.
I think a different person put feminine in there, but the original one was new masculinity for new leadership. What does it mean?
I think Disco Punk Timothy, you are unmuted, and I think you were speaking about this.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So new masculinity for new leadership. It's true. It's also new femininity, but this is it's less obvious. A lot of people talk about the negative side and yeah, and the wounded and toxic side of masculinity. Less about the feminine. Like when we say toxic feminine, what does it mean? We don't really know. Toxic masculine, it's more obvious. But yeah, connection. The need for new organization requires a new type of leadership, and for me, a new type of leadership requires to reinvent masculinity in a way that combines both power and vulnerability. And it's not either or; it's both together. That's really for me what I have in mind when I say a new masculinity for new leadership.
What I read there, maybe this will help understand Bianca, is that masculinity as it is fucked up.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, so we need a new one. Just that.
And in Web3, there's like a big majority of men, and I think that from what I've been hearing the last years, moving away from centralization actually implicitly means moving away from, you know, hierarchy, patriarchy, capitalism, and masculinity. And so people tend to kind of repress this side, and it doesn't disappear, it just becomes hidden. And this is where we see a lot of like very toxic dynamic around actually wounded form of masculinity that sometimes are even more destructive than in the centralized system.
I'm super sorry to interrupt this conversation, but I really want to bring this discussion about purpose to an end, because this may be also that we can discuss in further details in the following scenario. So I will take an invitation to you guys here. What we are willing to do is to agree on a phrase, on once, let's call it one single purpose. Of course, there is no single purpose in this. We seem like we have like 20 stickers notes with a lot of different things. But I will really invite us to make an exercise, especially by considering the one of the top, so the ones that we have decided are more relevant, to maybe let's bring the aggregation or the synthesis of this all to just one single purpose statement, if that makes sense to you guys.
So, at least for me, is the purpose of this is to impact, to create impact. So, impact for change of or fulfillment of leadership needs, like recognition of the recognition and on leadership needs. But that's just my words. I would love also to not monopolize the
And this is what we are. Yeah, this is perfect. Like you just start, and then I will expect someone else to jump in and or add something, or maybe correct, or. Is that okay? Everyone is happy with this? No one wished to.
Can we take a one to come up with a like a sentence.
Do you want to take one of these five the
No, just
Yeah.
1 minute for everybody to come up with their own synthesis. See what we get.
Okay, let's do it. I invite you just to take a green sticky note just to think that this is the new content we're producing, okay? Maybe not that big. When I say not that big, I actually meant like a little bit lighter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's smaller.
We don't know. We never had a controversial here, actually. So it is the first time that we organize something from this area.
Okay, let's just bring a few more seconds to this. If everyone is okay, let's start in just sharing what we have created here. Anyone feels to jump in? No? If not, I can start with my own inputs, and my input is to generate a new culture where leaders can follow their followers and followers can lead their leaders.
Dope. I've got the leadership course exists to feature behaviors that bring a human touch to Web3. Anybody else?
I can go. Mine is to build a cultural base considering the space needs before starting the building structure.
Yes, so mine says forming a world state of integrity that's sensitive, open, and strong. I was trying to synthesize so that, multiple things can be within that.
Nice.
Okay, and for me, I think I've just put life-serving technology, which kind of connects to the human touch that Jeremy has mentioned, or actually the principle of culture over structure, or maybe practice over tool, in a more micro level. But I think we're in a time where there's an acceleration of problem in the world, and technology has the potential to direct this, and either in a better direction than collapse or techno capitalism or yeah, techno surveillance, and yeah, there's a role, and I think it starts at the cultural and leadership level, especially in the tech space.
Dope, Gustavo. You want to move on to principles? Unmute. Still on mute, Gustavo.
Sorry. Yeah, before that, I just want to take maybe 1 minute to make like a brief voting on these green sticky notes. For that, you can use like the emoji option on each sticky notes, thumbs up. I don't know. Can you help me here, Bianca? You know, you're the one how to.
Sure, we can do thumbs
do
up
this.
and down.
Yes.
I was just gonna say,
Oh,
Durgadas, can you move your note to the side because we can't. Thanks.
Okay, so everyone votes already? Yes, let's take the last 20 seconds to finish this voting, guys.
How much will you ask per person?
Sorry, I don't know how to do the emoji thing in this.
It's about just selecting with one click the sticky notes, and then you go to the add emoji option, and then you go to the thumbs up, thumb down. Okay, you can finish that. In the meanwhile, let's start on the principles. So let's just take a couple of minutes to just do an individual exercise and answer the questions around what are the rules, what are the principles that we must absolutely obey, we should definitely follow to succeed in achieving this purpose that we have shared before. Okay. Principles, rules, even values if you want to bring them.
Like a trial round, which is donation based, and then it is working in yeah. Also, I'll take the current position. Yeah, current position. But not yet the but one at the moment, long term, long term, yeah, so we need to do more tourism with people coming and going.
Okay, let's just take the last 30 seconds to finish this exercise. So we'll start sharing. Okay, so let's go back to our collective space. I would really invite each of us to just to share a little bit what they have added instead of just having one reading, and maybe adding 2 or 3 more phrases around what they shared. That would be nice.
Yeah, so I've got a cluster of shit around inquiry, facilitation, structure, intention, artifacts, and integrity. These I think are all essential to include and unleash everyone. There's especially a relationship between structure, inquiry, and the creation of artifacts that I think is quite essential for when I think especially about the Web3 context. Anybody else?
Thank you. Yes, I want to go in. Before that, just to let you know that I'm already starting adding emojis. So if you want to do the same, that's an open invitation for you. I really like to include and unleash everyone as part of this, Jeremy. Thank you. For me, I put more emphasis on the practicing, how to practice, how to present use case to make a course that will be more about participation than just lecturing. And empathy to keep the empathy also as a North Star, let's say.
I want to jump
Anyone else?
I also put Empathy by Carl Rogers, where he says that empathy involves skillful, reflective listening that clarifies and amplifies the person's own experience and meaning without imposing the listening's material. So it's basically listen to somebody but not trying to use your own shoes. And attentive listening, it kind of like goes together, but being intentional when listening to somebody else, and collect proper reference to educate ourselves around the topic that we want to talk about.
I want to connect with what Bianca said last, and these two stickies are very related to that. Making a strong research around the state of the art of leadership. What are the theoretical frameworks to get inspired by, so that we can have like a rich and profound content, and dog fooding in our own organizations, because I don't consider myself a leadership expert, and I think that during this design of the course, we also need to educate ourselves and put it into practice within our own organizations, because how are we going to let or tell other people to do something that we are not skilled at? So I think we also need to get skilled at leadership in our own organizations and have like a good leadership structure, so that then we can give that to others. And I also wrote making it digestible, interactive, practical, and working out loud. This is something I learned from Jeremy, and it's super cool. Working out loud, like be noisy around this, so that people know that we're doing it, and like people is aware about what we're doing.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I like this one. This one should be Durgadas, right?
Decolonization. Ooh.
How did you know? What gave it away?
I think that
Yeah, I
this
mean-
is my like the one that sums up the most things. But please go.
Yeah, so there's actually, I included a link that actually has a very nice view, not in the mirror board, but in the chat, about what integral leadership is, and this is basically pulling directly from that. So my thing is that there are barriers to integral leadership, and those barriers are summarized by decolonization, which some of you have sat through my process for that. So anyway, yeah. So then once you have like a decolonized view, then you can have the multi-perspective view, self-awareness and objectivity, and then the noble intentions along with the noble results. So everything I'm trying to say is trying to summarize what other people are talking about at a high level. So, but that's my general methodology anyway. So, thank you.
Nice. Someone else? Have we all participated already? I don't see anyone else willing to jump in. So before moving to the next section, participants, I invite you guys to have half a minute to think if any of these elements that we have shared here are actually adding new lights, or it's inviting us to revise the previous element that we made with principles. I mean, on the purpose. It's like, this is adding new lights to the purpose, or we think that the purpose is okay, the principles are getting shaped, and we can move forward to the participants.
Well, it's nothing to do with you. There's a lack of burden in that exercise of the.
Is that a no, or is that Gustavo? I don't get the fuck what you're saying.
From my side, it's a yes.
Okay, so let's move to the next one. The participants who can or should contribute to achieving this purpose with these principles. Think about people, think about leaders, think about maybe even archetypes. You can think about whatever who means to you.
But this is not our clients, right? This is who would be like allies.
Yeah, who will be allies, who can be clients, who can be teachers, who must be included. Oh, by the way, Durgadas, I ended the book about these 4 archetypes a couple of days ago. Thanks a lot for sharing that.
because they are small. You know, with the work. Important to us. We have really nice visions going on for the community members, and we have really nice things going on for the local people, for the residents from the area. Usually for the courses, we have many people visiting the different countries. We have people from all around the world. When we have workshops, like she's making workshops like the foundation, whatever, it's usually more local people. So for us, it's not really business, the local people or the community. We will see it when you do it. If people are really interested, we have this many. Really nice. That's what's the position. I don't know if I can clarify what.
Okay, just a few more seconds to finish this, guys. If someone is already finished and wants to jump in and share, please jump in.
It's also possibility in the future if you're interested in really
Yeah, so my thing was the king, warrior, magician, lover thing. These are kind of archetypes to, that each, I feel like developmentally, if we can get to those, I mean, of course, these are male archetypes, but there are obviously accompanying, female archetypes as well. But the point really is the king is like the highest, version of all the other archetypes. And, the magician is, I think maybe a little bit of the thing that I'm embodying, maybe more than anything else. And then, the lover is that sort of passionate person who brings their, passion to the project and everything. So I think we just kind of need to recognize when people are operating out of these archetypal places, and understand that, when people are in the sort of broken versions of those archetypes as well. So I hope we can review that book at some point. But I do think that all those things can roughly summarize the kinds of people we need to bring along.
Anybody else?
I like.
I got a bunch of names.
Go, Jeremy.
Go ahead. Wonka.
I think we were going to say the same, like some active, visible leaders in the space, like Owocki, Vitalik, Griff, Simona Pop, Hudson Jameson, and like Monty from Refi DAO, and like, yeah, Richard Bartlett. I think if we can have these visible leaders, Pete, all these people are like people who already have a reputation, and that if we add it to our course, it's really, really, really good. It's global, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely double click. I want to underscore, like, one of the things I think is going to have a significant impact is around gender balance. So, like, Lean is also Graviton, and Anna Marie Swan also has some very interesting things to say about ecological organizations. My fantasy that I have no clue, I don't know her, and I don't know how we could get her, but like Sophie Strand, who wrote The Flowering Wand, would be amazing, just to sort of really emphasize that decolonized perspective. Anybody else?
I can go. Why did I start? Okay, so I put Source Creed because they're very inclusive community, and I see like a lot of value there. Like we had some gravitons from Source Creed that they are just wonderful. Like um, Morgan and Aloysius. So they're like a inspiring place for me at least, and they're very well inclusive on the aspects we are talking about here. I also put R and Dow because I think they're doing something similar to us, and I would love to like brainstorm a product that we could do together. Not really knowing like what could come out of it, but just like I think something cool could come out. I also put psychologists because the topics that we talk in gravity, they're pretty much done by psychologists. So I like that. Eat Global, thinking about making our voice louder, and yeah, they I think last year they were looking for impactful work on human development, so it's something that I think could be nice. And I wrote down Her DAO because they're also very inclusive, kind of like in a similar way to SourceGrid. But they are very focused on education. They do a lot of um, developer education, and maybe bring the leadership there could also be cool because they are present in a lot of different countries. And John Paller, that's one of the founders of It Denver, and he's someone that cares about public goods a lot, and he's all about giving. So, yeah, that'll be it for me. I also love to put Vitalik on there, so thanks for it.
There's something, and that would be like a really cool thing, and it's that in the last articles that Vitalik have written, I see him screaming for leadership. So I think if we really are loud enough for him to hear about what we're doing, he should be interested. Because in the last articles he's like, oh, I'm feeling old. I was before a wonder kid. Now I see so many wonder kids, and I am like getting older. And how are we rotating all this?
Nerds, I'm gonna have to jump out. Can we get a smiling happy faces before I gotta go?
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, I'm my camera.
Uh, let's talk later, Jeremy, for the address, for your address for the hypersearch. Go change that. Yeah, nice. Oh my God. Thanks for coming, man. So just to finish on that, I would like to share my two inputs besides what you all shared. I think it's super amazing to bring all these all these leaders from the space, but I'm also particularly in favor to certain kind of archetypes like Fred Stephen Wright, to make an example of what is really bad leadership in the space, to make this example about having narcissistic leadership and how that's developing the Web3 space. And thinking at the moment also about the Aragon founders and all the mess that they created in the first 2-3 years of Aragon existence. Of course, I know that if we invite them with this kind of invitation, it's super unlikely that they will come. But I feel like, I don't know, especially tempted to bring this kind of people to the discussions, to whatever the structure that we put, or whatever. And also these guys like Amin Soleimani. I just love that guy. I mean, he's a really masculine, powerful kind of guy that he's like really rebel against a lot of shit, and he's not. I don't know, like he's not politically correct. So I would like also to bring this kind of characters into a joint conversations in order to, hey, what the fuck is going on? So I mean, Soleimani is that example of that kind of people that I.
Yeah, Tyson Yunkaporta is very much that way in groups too. So I don't know if you've ever seen him in groups, but and he wrote a great book called Sand Talk. It's quite good, but he's very confrontational in group. So it's really interesting to see how that works. But thanks again, guy.
I just got the idea from listening to you that it would be cool if one of the sessions it's more like a panel and we can have like a safe space about leadership mistakes and having like 2 or 3 people that are active leaders just yeah.
We're going to jump into that now, probably in the structure.
Yeah.
So
just keep inviting people and see if it can work. You know what I mean? So just swing big. You know, invite Vitalik, invite the Sophie Strand, invite these people and see what we can get. So that looks like an invitation list to me.
Yeah, let's jump to the next one, unless some of this is shedding new lights to you that is suggesting a revisions to the previous element. But I think that, at least in my own view, we are still in line. If I'm wrong here, please opportunity to jump in. We need to change something from the last principles and purpose element. I don't feel this is the case, so let's just jump in the structure one. And remember, the prompt is to answer to the questions how we must organize this in both macro microstructures and distribute control, also to achieve our purpose of generating a new Web3 culture around leadership. How we must organize this course in the same way that Gravity has been doing. We should, like what Juan was sharing right now, to add panelists, maybe liberating structures, and maybe I'm already talking just too much. So let's take a couple of minutes to write down this.
You don't really know what conversation do you have here. You don't even know who is like, not like a traffic person. And what kind of thinking you don't need to discover how much you do. Please, that's what I'm curious.
Okay, let's just focus on finalizing this. Last few seconds. Last few seconds. Any feedback from this? John? Okay, John. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Okay, so anyone wants to jump in and share a little bit about how do we want to organize all this mess that we are creating?
I can start. I wrote this one, have a coordination team for the training. I think that we need to have like clear leaders and champions of this, so that it doesn't feel like it's everyone thing, but it's in anyone's plate. So have a coordination team for that. And I also wrote thinking on iteration and having an MVP, so it doesn't have to be perfect the first time, but that we can continue iterating on the training. I also wrote have a defined narrative and having clear rewards and a clear budgeting structure, so that everyone is clear about their expectations of being rewarded, and at the same time we can also plan on our budget, and that it doesn't also turn against us within our budget structure if we are going to give all the funds for this, or if we are going to also find other organizations that are going to contribute with the budget of the thing. So having a good budgeting structure. Either if it's going to be us like covering the 100% of the training, or if we are going to receive from other allies to contribute to the budget. And balance theory and practice. That's the other thing I wrote. That's my thought.
Thank you, Juan. Anybody else?
I can share. I said have a clear vision of what's going to be delivered. Gather the content we would like to share during the training and do a funnel to organize how we would share it, set up expectations for present and future, and some questions like, are other DAOs organizations seeing the need to what we are proposing to teach? What do we want people to learn after the training? And I don't know if I wrote anything else.
Can I ask you a clarification about this? Why do you see this as a way of organization?
This what?
What do we want people to learn after the training?
Yeah, because this way, like if we want people to learn a certain thing, maybe it's easier for us to structure ourselves going to the end and coming back from there. Like think about.
Yeah, beginning with the end in mind.
Sorry?
It's like a blueprint approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of those is begin with the end in mind.
That's the thought.
Okay, thank you for clarification. Nice. From my side, I think I just mainly put this like may have sense to work in Scrum cycles, like make small iterations about the courses when we have the capabilities to do it ourselves, putting like short-ended deadlines in order like we can test out our own product and maybe evolve it in different cycles. I did myself just put another stuff, but yeah, I realized that it was more regarding other other elements not related to the structure one. Anybody else?
Well, I created a bunch of graphics that are oriented on this, so that's why I have a graphic for that. Because I mean, it's already like almost all my graphics are about this. So
we can bring those graphics. We can bring those graphics here if that makes it useful for us all. Anything else? Yeah.
I also wrote, frame this collective effort being made led by Gravity DAO, because sometimes it feels like we are a little bit like on our own, like a small organization, but it would be really cool if we can frame this like as a collective effort between nested enterprises and not something isolated that we think and that we created out of it.
Yeah, that's really cool. I will put emojis on this one.
So when you're talking,
Juan, can you say a bit more about that in the sense like, are you the initiator of this proposition?
We Gravity, yes. I mean, Grace, she was here at the start. She have a book around DAO leadership, but there's not like a proper like online course or training where we can have like the experience of multiple communities and multiple leaders. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
In my experience, I've been doing quite a lot of like this multi-stakeholder or collaborative approaches where there's friction is in the egos and the identities. So, like, what space do you do you want to give to actually those stakeholders? That was the ratio. I think you need to get clear on this. Otherwise, people might be disappointed and then resentment, or actually you might not put Gravity DAO too much in front. So you need to find the right balance there.
Yes, that's right now we're having that same discussion because we want to develop a product and we don't know if doing it ourselves alone or with others.
And I think, in my view, this is exactly the problem that we need to solve. So it's good if we are start to having that problem ourselves to learn how to solve that and then expose it out to people out there. I think there is a lot of learning just through the development of Discord itself.
I think that
Okay.
just one thing, managing expectations is a really important part. And I had something else, but I forgot. It will come back.
Managing expectations, or is there managing expectations?
Yeah, so the principle is that we collaborate on value creation, but we compete on value capture. So you can create like a beautiful experience, but basically establishing like how people contribute, what they're gonna have in return, and having this as clear as possible is the best way to ensure this collaboration that will renew, that will continue. Yeah.
That's super deep and interesting, Tim. Thanks for sharing. We have a little bit more than 5 minutes, so let's just jump directly into the next element, the practice. Let's focus on the what. What are we going to do? What is actually what we'll be offering to you, or assisting to us. Let's just take a couple of minutes for our individual exercise, and let's get back later.
I need more clarity on the general vision to contribute here because I think I missed the beginning, but I'm lacking the meta context.
So, just to be clear, this whole leadership thing that we're doing came out of a thing that we're looking at all of the different things we were doing in terms of. I think there was one graphic that I made where I got trust creation on one side and conflict, transformation on the other side. And what we realized was along the edge of that sort of light and dark space, there's a lot of things, right? And so we also then realized that all of those things were all leadership things. So, for example, liberating structures, trauma-informed practices, all this kind of stuff, right? So when now looking at the androgynous sort of structure, that's basically the androgynous leader is kind of summarizing the same thing that we're summarizing in terms of that light and dark side of the picture, It's also, if you look at something like polarity mapping, an androgynous leader would be somebody who had sort of embodies a kind of polarity mapping setup, And so there's an awful lot of that kind of those deep structures in every one of the graphics that I make, and that's why I put in, I had a graphic for that. So maybe you haven't seen them before, but I can maybe friend you and send you those. We can talk about that offline. Thanks.
Yeah, I'd be happy to, definitely. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, anyone wants to share about? I can start. So I made lectures, liberated structures, conflict resolution process, and in a way that actually an element lectures coming from traditional leadership or from this new leadership can be included here, but not only. Like we could bring like fishbowls, liberated structures in which we bring different leaders from the space to come and speak or tackle certain topics. Maybe we can do also some examples in a theatrical way or whatever, maybe a video or something about representing a situation that is going wrong, and how can we transform it to the best of the organizations. This is also an invitation to let's try to show examples about how a conflict just can or any situation or a problem can be solved just since we teach leaders and followers to switch a little bit their roles and to be here, seen and respected more, let's say, and like in just as aggruppating this all, we need also to be able to offer a really well-defined for storytelling and how to in this whole story, right? That was me. Anybody else?
Yeah, I would love to hear this idea of storytelling in general narrative. I think it would be super useful for me. It's not obvious after the session what is the general direction, even though I have an idea. I would love to learn more, exchange more. I have to go now. I have another call. But thank you very much for the session. And
thanks for coming. I sent you a friend request.
Sorry?
Thanks for coming, and I sent you a friend request.
I'm not sure I understood the end of your sentences, but thanks for welcoming me. Thank you, Gustavo, especially for facilitating and inviting me in the space. yeah, I look forward to work together, guys.
Thank you so much for
Great.
coming. Hope to see you more.
Cheers. Bye, Bianca, Juan, Remy, and Gus. Ciao.
Bye.
I also wrote meaningful practical experiences. I think that those practices, like the ones we do with the cards, like yesterday, or when we like draw things and like have that moment to have like a practical experience where I review myself or where I set some improvement goals. Those are really really meaningful experiences. And I think that also we are providing easy access to education that is costly in Web3. Um, I've done this research on leadership courses, and most of them are really costly. So we will be providing easy access to something that is valuable. And I also wrote this of continued improvement loops and schooling for good practices, because this is something that we want to offer, but we've been failing in the past, because we say that being a graviton or engaging in a graviton training, it means that you will engage in continued education. But actually what happens is that people finish the training and we struggle to like keep them onboarded and in the loop. So it would be really cool if we can have like next steps for people that want to participate, to keep them engaged. And this also connects to this mystery school um, sticky note, where for example, for the people that take the course and want to deep dive, they can go to the mystery school. And people who maybe take the course and would like to take a more like practical approach, they can also contribute to Gravity or to any other thing that we can have them being participating in.
That's good. I can jump in. I put together share valuable information to personal and cultural improvement. I think that's something that we want to do. Also to promote safe spaces, have a place to share experiences. I'm sure that's going to be super interesting, like kind of like together with who Juan was saying about practical experiences, like to share people's experience on leadership and trying to like gather their challenges and so on. Maybe with the research, I'm not sure. Also to like share and spread the word that this space isn't a space to compete, but a space to create together, and encourage the person to person space.
That's nice. Thank you very much, guys. I feel that we did a great job today. I also feel that this is that kind of jobs that can also give the false perception of misleading, because we've been already coming from a space in which we have been some structures, at least in our head, and how we want to create this course. And look what we have done here today. We just have been spitting out a lot of new information, having new elements from outside the team, also disrupting that kind of vibe. And that's give us some kind of sentiment of being lost. And I'm sharing that because I'm feeling that a little bit, but I also know that this is just part of the process. So in case that you guys are also feeling what I'm feeling regarding this perception of being lost, Yeah, just to provide you some safety, let's say, or some hope that we are just getting lost in a way for arrive more nurtured and healed to the end point of this course. Just wanted to share that today.
Thanks, Gus. I think your facilitation and the idea is really good. And I also have this like analogy from art that they say that whenever you start doing like a piece of art, there's a moment where you start saying, "Oh my God, why did I do this?" But then you move from that point and art like displays, because initially it's like, okay, there's a blank canvas, but then you start putting paint on it and you don't see anything, and I am like, oh my God, it would be better if I didn't do this. But now, but then you continue and it takes shape. So I think it's the same right now. And I like that we are in this phase where we are like adding everything. Then it will come the moment to like the pure the information and have what we would work with in this iteration.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. I think that for next week we already have this to work on. What intuitively is coming to me is making another liberating structures, maybe the what, so what, now what, may have sense to start grounding all this information and start providing actually what are the instructions, the clear instructions to go next and start like, Juan do this, Bianca do this, Gus do this, Dorga does that, and so on. So I'm just feeling this, we are getting closer.
Thanks for leading it.
Actually, from my perspective, this I actually like this to include people in because actually I can't see anything different about the conclusions that everyone got to in here, other than things we've already done. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's super in alignment. So I almost feel like this is like an onboarding exercise. You know what I mean? A way to like promote what we do, because in fact, when you look at the stuff that we've already set up and constructed, it's really inclusive of all of these things. You know, okay, androgynous leadership, but you could contextualize androgynous leadership very easily within other things we've done, like polarity mapping. So maybe polarity mapping could be another onboarding thing that we could do. So we could just, you know, maybe do that as an exercise as well. That's something that I'd like to actually get into as a way to, you know, so like if we're talking to some new DAO, you know, to just go in and do a polarity mapping exercise and then have them be like, oh, wow, that's amazing. And then show how that connects to things like androgynous leadership, that sort of stuff. So anyway, that's maybe kind of a proposal, but I'm not sure that anything particularly new came out of this, but it certainly is wonderful to validate our existing premises and to include people in our thinking about all of this, you know, up to now. So, and that's not a drag on you or the structure or anything at all. It really is just a wonderful thing. So I feel like we should just be repeating this a lot, you know. And it might be a great way to get people to see, you know, we're holding our weekly leadership, you know, thing, and we just go through it. And what it might do, though, is allow us to, you know, evolve or make more precise, and also as a kind of way to keep our finger on the pulse of what the needs of the people participating in the DAO space are, you know. So I will say, you know, something else about that when we're done recording. So I just wanted to say that thing.
Thank you. This was recorded, right, Bianca? Nice, cool. There's a good one. Okay, guys, so if there is nothing else. Oh yeah, there is one more thing. Maybe I can do that. No, I don't want to do it now. I really need to take a break. The hypersearch. I just need your Optimism addresses. So if you can share a DM with your addresses, or I think the ENS are also valid for that.
And
That's the thing.
I know Bianca tried to say something a moment ago. I don't want to for you to feel that you stood with something that you wanted to say. So please, it's very important for us.
No, I'm good, thank you. I just said in the chat, it's just to validate what's being done here by Gus. I think it's really good that we're doing this using the tools that we're actually trying to share with people, and it makes it very clear for us to like have a path and go through it, instead of just having like a lot of voices talking and trying to get somewhere. So having the facilitation to the practice, it's very helpful. It makes also like a little bit fun to get the content together. So I just appreciate the leadership on taking on the deliberative structure to the course.
Thank you very much, Bianca. Super appreciated your words, and feeling a really warm, icky things in myself. So thank you for sharing that. See you guys tomorrow.
Yep. I
Okay,
can
so are we
stop
gonna do a
recording.
6 a.m. thing, Gus?
I was just gonna stop recording.